All right, so we are now live. We've got Pipeline Podcast already in the chat. He didn't know we did live streams. Well, guess what, Pipeline? We are going to open with a bang right here. Let's go straight into who wants to be a satillionaire. If you are the first person to guess this correctly in the chat, you will be taken onward in our journey toward 1,000,000 sats. So, for 9 Satoshis, in which satchats episode does my co-host today, Simple Steve, first appear? Is it A, episode 6, B, episode 16, C, episode 60, or D, episode 66? Dude, what was that music?
Think of the phone a friend. Were they called lifelines or?
Dude, they had lifelines. There was phone a friend.
What was it?
There was ask the audience.
Poll the audience, yeah.
And then wasn't there a third, like where maybe you could
there
like?
was one.
I think it would get rid of one of the wrong answers or something like that.
50-50, something like that.
All right, so if you're in here streaming at the very beginning, you can take a look and put into the chat what you think it is. Is it episode 6, episode 16, episode 60, or episode 66?
Can I throw a hint out there?
Okay.
There is a 6 in it.
Reggie, no, brother. You're family, man. Get out of here.
All
right.
Why can't Reggie answer it?
Because he's part of the crew.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like you can't like enter the contest. All right, so let's get rid of that, JRB, and we'll move into the show. Welcome to Sat Chats, the Bitcoin welcome to Sat Chats Live, the Bitcoin podcast where we chat about Sats live. Sats are the smallest part of a Bitcoin, the same way pennies are the smallest part of a dollar. With Sat Chats Live, we are building the world's biggest Bitcoin welcome center live. I'm going to say that a bunch. I'm just going to try to get... Are we live? Are we live on YouTube?
I think we are.
To serve as your live gateway to generational wealth. Let's see here. So if you're brand new to Bitcoin, we want to chat about Sats with you. You can jump in the chat right now. Jump in there. I'll be your host today, Stuart Bitcoin Maxi, who wears prescription sunglasses to protect you and your loved ones from my Bitcoin laser eyes.
And my turn? Yeah, yep. I'm Simple Steve. Don't really have a tagline, but just Bitcoin lifer, Steve.
Yeah, with the horns, Bitcoin lifer. So, you need to do what in order to get entered for 10,000,000 sats?
You gotta like and subscribe, and also draw a Bitcoin symbol on your forehead every Tuesday morning. Is that right?
No.
There was one more.
YouTube's gonna be like, no. You only have to subscribe. Subscribe. Yeah.
Subscribe.
They'll get you with the giveaway terms. So smash the subscribe button the same way Chris Smash buys Bitcoin. When we reach 100,000 subscribers, we will draw one from among you and drop 10,000,000 sats on your head. Can you help our audience understand truly what 10,000,000 sats really means? Because in today's terms, it's worth, if we look at the only objective price of Bitcoin for a moment here, Simple Steve.
Yeah, that's right.
The confirmed on-chain price over the past 3 hours is $105,929. So 10,000,000 sats is $10,592 right now. But what does it really mean?
I mean, from a historical perspective, there's only going to be like a fraction, 1/10 of 1% of somebody that has like 1,000,000 sats.
Ooh.
I mean, that's a lot. They're going to be looked at like some giant in history if you have, what'd you say, 10,000,000 sats?
We're giving out 10,000,000.
Man, I know a guy that has 10,000,000 sats, and that guy is awesome.
Oh my gosh. So, like Simple Steve said, in the future, you will be a titan.
You'll be a titan, man.
With 10,000,000 sats by your name.
Vanderbilt, be like 10 million pounds of gold or something.
Oh my gosh, dude. And my dream is to like have a Vanderbilt style house. Like, I would love nothing more than to have more space than I need. And to do like, because in the Edwardian era, they felt like if you wore the right clothes, you could achieve anything. Like literally.
Oh, was that it?
They felt like if you just wore the correct clothes for horseback, you would be a master of the horse because it's the clothes that was either enabling you. So they would do like 12 to 18 changes per day because it was like each activity required a different.
Wow.
Yeah, if you go down in the basement of the Biltmore where they like talk about the history,
and
they show.
They have that like hand-tiled pool in the basement.
Dude.
That was wild.
How much would you like to just go down to the basement of your home and like do 19th century style like exercises with like, you know, they had like the handles here and like the stretchy spring and you're just doing this. And then you just dip into that little tiled pool underneath.
Sounds like a movie. Yeah.
I would love to sit down in that dining room area with the huge, you know, fireplaces, and then after we eat, the girls go to a girls area.
Oh yeah.
And the dudes go to they go to an area with like a billiards and like cigars and pipes.
Do you think we could have like robot maintenance crew though? Because I would always feel bad if I had to employ people to work there and they didn't really like working there. But you know, if we have AI robots like taking care of the place,
Dude,
no problem.
I'd be
no
like,
problem.
hey, yo, delicious, pick that up.
Yeah.
Pick that up, clean that up.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'd be like, next service.
Next robot.
Next course, please.
You wouldn't feel like a jerk if ordering around robots. You know?
Oh my God. No, well, but what if they like gain sentience and are like, I don't think I'm getting paid enough. Like y'all are undervaluing me. Like,
well, that's just evolution, isn't it? You know.
I would have no problem bossing around a robot that has no feelings. But if they get to where they're like, hey man, the working conditions aren't nice, then I'd be like, you know, like they barely give us any good electricity around here. You know what I mean? This is like such low voltage electricity, man. Like they like.
What's this, solar power?
I heard that the Biltmore, you know, down the street, they really hook you up with some good clean energy. You know what I mean? Like I might go get a job there, right?
Yeah, let's get a job there.
All right, so let's check in here with the chat. We've got Simple Steve here on the show, and Simple Steve, by the way, for everybody that's in the chat. Simple Steve is an OG, and he knows so much about Bitcoin that he was actually able to have a massive breakthrough in the form of UTX Oracle, which is streaming behind you. For you guys that watch the show every day, you see the UTX Oracle that's kind of active in the background of every show. Simple Steve made the dang thing, and he was able to tell the people real quick, give them 30 seconds about what this is real quick.
Yeah, these are live streaming new Bitcoin transactions flowing in here from right to left, the orange dots there. I've had people tell me it's kind of soothing, just the way they kind of, they comment fast and then they just kind of like slowly,
can you update this to like have like a nice waterfall sound behind it where it's like, it's like a Zen Bitcoin feed.
Yeah, maybe some like 16th century French solo piano, Debussy or something like that.
And by the way, look, the Death Star is attacking Bitcoin with a wall. Whenever I see a wall of transactions come through, I'm like, dude, they're attacking Bitcoin.
You know, this isn't even as crazy as Bitcoin gets. Like, this is actually, even though you have this little wall here and this little crazy stuff going on here, I'm just showing you the Bitcoin transactions that are related to finding the price of Bitcoin.
Yes.
There's a lot of Bitcoin transactions that are just like have nothing to do with the US dollar price of Bitcoin. It's kind of the Wild West. But these transactions here are transactions that are close to round amounts of dollars, which means my algorithm can see how much Bitcoin they spent for that round amount of dollars.
Yeah.
Which means the price of Bitcoin is on chain and kind of an indirect, statistical, roundabout, yet somehow perfectly accurate way.
Yeah, it's kind of like
it's kind of magic.
Yeah, you're determining that it's night by watching the moonlight reflect off the glass of wine. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
We got the Galileo of Bitcoin in the studio live, and today's topic is ask this guy anything. Ask him anything about Bitcoin you want, and he will explode your mind with his knowledge. Now, we got a couple of more people watching here, Jer. Let's put our opening question back up because my mom took a guess. She thinks Simple Steve first appeared in episode 16. That is not correct. So, Mom, your guess is gone.
Mom, come on. We met at the party.
You met frickin' Simple Steve.
You said you loved my episode, and you can't even remember the episode number.
So for 9 Satoshis, who can put the correct answer in the chat right now, in which satchats episode does Simple Steve, my co-host today, first appear? Is it A, episode 6? We're going to skip B because Mom already got that wrong. Is it C, episode 60, or D, episode 66? If you're the first person to get this answer right, you will move on to next week's round, and it will be for 99 sats next week. So for 9 Satoshis, Senor Gringo Papi, help us out, dude. Dad is absolutely wrong. Episode 66 is not Simple Steve. That's Michael, the fellow who took cash. Mom, you can't guess again. You already blew it. Jeff Booth is number 62. So in which SatChats episode does Simple Steve first appear? Is it A, episode 6, or C, episode 60? Who can get this right? You have a 50-50 chance of getting this right. If you haven't guessed already, yeah, sorry, Mom.
Still can't believe
Senor Gringo Papi is literally wrong. It's not 6. It's not 16. It's not 6. Dude, I guess I'm the only person who memorizes our guests' numbers here.
You probably are the only
Dad, you
person
can't guess again. You can't guess again. You already blew it.
Maybe they know and they're just messing with you and they're just not going to guess it at this point.
If there's anybody out there, Simon, I know you're in the chat. Literally, all 3 answers so far have been wrong. There's only this is like in
it's like an episode of The Office where Jim is like trolling, pretending like he can't guess something.
Dude, no, I feel like this is like the never-ending story where all Sebastian has to do is call out the name of the childlike impress. It's like, just help save our world, please. There's only one answer left, okay?
I had a feeling this might happen, actually.
A is wrong, B is wrong, D is wrong. BTC Moon Guy says episode 21, that's not even an answer. Oh my God. All right, Jeremy, get that out of here now, dude. Oh my God. They're refusing to answer this correctly. We're going to put it up next week as the first. This answer is going into the trash bin of history. It's number 60, Simple Steve. I'll just tell you all. Number 60. Nobody wins Who Wants to Be a Satillionaire this week. So tune in at the very beginning of the show next week. We will start over with a brand new question.
Do we need to burn 6? Wait, how many sats was it again?
That was 9 sats. That was worth 9 Satoshis.
Should we burn 9 Satoshis? Just make it forever lost?
Oh.
Like deflate the supply?
How now?
Just sacrifice 9 Satoshis.
How do you do that though? How do there tell our audience, how do you throw away sats? Let's talk about wasting Bitcoin today, folks. How would we even do that?
There's something called provably unspendable Bitcoin addresses.
Okay, let's talk about that.
So they're addresses. It's like a cryptographic way of proving that this address actually has no private key to it.
Wow. Okay.
So if you send Bitcoin to that address, no one can spend it because there is no private key to that Bitcoin address.
Okay. Yeah. So there are already addresses on record where people know the keys are gone.
Yeah.
So you could transact on the Bitcoin network and you could send 9 Satoshis
to the waste bin. What's a good analogy for that? It's like to the black hole.
Yeah.
You know?
The junkyard of Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, it's worse than junkyard though. It ain't never coming out. It's gone.
But how much? Since we would be sending it on chain, I mean, we would need to pay more than 9 sats to send 9 sats. Like, I'm envisioning the winner of Who Wants to Be a Satillionaire would have like a Lightning address.
Yeah.
Or that it would get high enough, right? Because just to let you people know, or Satillionaires, we should call you. Mm-hmm. Let's use the right term here. I'm thinking about doing 9 Satoshis, and then if you get it right, you move on to the next week, and it's 99 Satoshis. 999,
okay.
9999, and then finally 99999, and then the big question is 1 million sats, right? So you would try to get 5 or 6 questions in a row correct. Unless we want to do 21, do we want to do 21 questions to get to 1 million sats?
That'd be good too. Yeah.
And then if you get it wrong, it dumps back out and we go back to the beginning and someone else tries.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that too.
I think that would be a fun way to open the show. And maybe more than one person would be watching when we start because they're like, they want to be the person that gets into the next round of Who Wants to Be a Satillionaire.
It'd be great if they just continually refuse to answer the right question.
Dude, we got a bunch of trolls in the chat. They will not tell us. All right, so let's actually check out the chat here. We have a question. So today's topic is Ask Simple Steve Anything. And for those who haven't watched number 60 yet, which feels like all y'all, Go back and watch his episode after the live stream is over. It's incredible. But you'll learn that Simple Steve is literally a rocket scientist who worked for NASA. He's got a PhD. He's as smart as it gets, but he owns a bar here in Raleigh and hangs around like the dude from Big Lebowski. That's You know what I mean?
Yeah, identity crisis, man. Still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up.
He's one of the smartest guys who just chooses not to use his smarts in most situations.
Yeah, as we were talking like downstairs, I do feel comfortable identifying as a Bitcoiner. Yeah, pretty solid that that's not going to change about me.
But not only a Bitcoiner, an OG.
Yeah, I'm an OG. I unfortunately I lost all my Bitcoin in a boating accident, but I have been in Bitcoin for a long time.
Yeah.
Just wish I'd have held on to some of those coins, man.
Oh, unfortunately,
I lost all of them.
He sent them all to one of those provably unspendable Bitcoin addresses. So here's what Pipeline Podcast asks us right back at the beginning of the show. Is it, and I haven't read this yet, so hopefully it's a good one. Is it true that Bitcoin is just the marketing name and Satoshis are really what matters because getting to one Bitcoin is incredibly rare?
Well, there's a lot in that question. I'd say yes for a couple of reasons there. You know, there's a Bitcoin marketing department that you know, the people need to work there more. You know, it's a great department. And you can find it anywhere.
How do you apply for a job at the Bitcoin marketing department? Our poor audience of beginners are going to be like, what? You can really work for Bitcoin?
You just have to name yourself the CEO of the Bitcoin marketing department. And
you're good.
Yeah.
I think we work for the Bitcoin marketing department here at satchats. I mean, we're doing everything we can to help people know more about Bitcoin.
Yeah. For a second, I thought that question was asking, are there any Bitcoin in the Bitcoin software, or is it just Satoshis? And
let's talk about that.
The answer to that is yes. There is only Satoshis in the Bitcoin software. So I was just dealing with this last night, actually. So when you're reading from the Bitcoin blockchain directly, like just show me the numbers, it sends you numbers. It doesn't send anything in Bitcoin. It sends everything in Satoshis. One of the reasons for that is that computers like integers a lot more than they like decimals. Computers dealing with decimals is actually kind of weird, especially if you're dealing with 10 to the minus 8. So you know how there's like 8 decimals in Bitcoin? Computers, you know, you get too many decimals in there, and like 2 different computers are going to decide to round those decimals at different places, and that is horrible for something that needs to be consensus compatible like Bitcoin. So Bitcoin just uses Satoshis and just counts up from 1, and Bitcoin Core doesn't know what a Bitcoin is. It just knows what Satoshi is.
That's crazy. Yeah. Bitcoin Core is actually Satoshi Core. You heard it
it's
here
Satoshi
today.
Core.
Satoshi Core. Can we, you know what? We should make a Philosopher King node that has all of your most like desired elements in it. And maybe it comes pre-packaged with the Oracle inside. And we'll call it Satoshi Core. And that'll be elite. Yeah.
Weird. It's like, Bitcoin node doesn't have a Bitcoin in it, but somehow has US dollars in it.
How many lines of code is there in the software?
Oh, I don't know if you'd want to count it up. I mean, let's see. There's probably so each file probably has something like 500 lines of code in it. And there's probably 30, 40 of these files, maybe more. I don't know.
At 500
there's probably more than that, actually.
Okay.
I don't want to give an estimate because then I'd probably look dumb by some expert out there.
Well, here's what I want to do. I'm going to propose this to you live on SatChats Live right now.
Okay.
I've been looking at YouTube videos, and some of the most popular ones are like endurance videos where like Mr. Beast wants you to like stand in a circle for a month, right? How much
how long can you keep your hand on this car?
Yes.
And then you get it. Those things are painful,
Dude,
man.
First person to take their hand off of Bitcoin's code. Or last person to keep their hand on Bitcoin's code gets a Bitcoin.
How about your eyeballs? Like, you just have to look at the code.
Yeah, first person to blink. Away. Yeah, last person to blink looking at Bitcoin's code. So here's what I thought we could do. and you let me know if you think this is interesting. I think you and I should sit down together, and we should personally go through every single line of Bitcoin's code with no potty breaks. No potty breaks. We got it from start to finish.
Yeah.
We need to go through each line, and you need to help me understand exactly how Bitcoin's code works, because I'm trying to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And the fact that I haven't inspected Bitcoin's code for myself is killing me.
Yeah.
Because I crave authenticity. I want to be able to say, man, I've looked at the dang thing and I know it works. But for the YouTube degenerates who like to watch people hang out and be in pain, how long can you hold your sats? I like that, Simon.
How
Can
long
we
can
do
you
like
hold your
a-
sats?
Oh,
Well, I don't have any, but if I had some, I'm pretty sure I could hold them for 16 years and, not even think of selling them, except for that time when I was unemployed.
Yeah.
And I had to get by, but yeah.
so
Forever, dude.
you need to be Simple Steve, because you won't be our co-host next week. Next week we've got number 24 Freddie, who's in the cybersecurity field, who's going to be co-hosting, because you couldn't co-host next week.
Okay.
You're going to have to pull up, and you're going to have to compete for 9 Satoshis, because Simple Steve, number 60, apparently has no Bitcoin. He lost it all in
lost it all.
A tragic, provably unspendable boating accident.
Yep.
All right. So let's see here. And then Pipeline has another question here. And do you think, because of Bitcoin's incredible growth rate, that MSATs will be needed like sort of a unit below sats? Do you think we're going to have to divide further than Satoshis?
So this is a debate that's been going on since the beginning of Bitcoin.
Of all Bitcoin time.
It's really, and I've seen it a million times. It never really goes anywhere. Yeah, sometimes it seems like there should be a kind of unit in between Bitcoin and Satoshi that gets popular. We need something in the middle there. But that's not really how language works. Like, have you ever, how they try to come up with that new language that was better than English or something?
Esperanto.
And you ever have a friend try to change his name or something like that? Or you have somebody try to say this word needs to mean this now. Naming and coming up with names with stuff doesn't really work like that. You can't kind of actively change it. It just kind of has to happen naturally. It probably, if it were to be changed, it would probably happen by two prominent members or at an exchange or at a really popular wallet implementation. What are the popular wallets these days?
I think Sparrow is pretty popular on the desktop.
Sparrow, Blue Wallet's weird.
Blue Wallet's pretty good on mobile.
Yeah, so
that's what we use.
If a couple of these guys were childhood friends or something, and they're hey, let's both make a unit, and we'll put this on our software, on our wallet, on our exchange, then it might happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think we need one, but to be honest, I can't predict how it will happen.
So first of all, I used to think that you could simply just choose to divide further down from the SAT. And my proposal, and I've been saying this so that it's time-stamped on YouTube, okay? If we're gonna make a unit smaller than the Satoshi, I think we should have 100 million of them to the Satoshi, right? Just like there's 100 million Satoshis to the Bitcoin, we should have 100 million smaller units to the Satoshi.
What would you call those?
A Nakamoto.
A Nakamoto?
Wouldn't that be dope? Right? It flows nicely, right? Satoshi Nakamoto. So there's 100 million Nakamotos in one Satoshi and 100 million Satoshis in one Bitcoin.
Love it.
And there's 100 million Bitcoin. There's not. There's 21 million Bitcoin.
I think Michael Saylor already tried to make the name Nakamoto mean 1 million Bitcoin.
Nah, I'm going to win out. I appreciate the attempt, Saylor.
Well, yeah, I mean,
but my idea's better.
Also, probably only one person's gonna need that word to mean 1 million Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to need Nakamoto for lower than a sat.
Personally, I'm on record saying 1 million Bitcoin should be called a Godzilla coin.
I like that better.
Because that is dope. So there's 21 Godzilla coins floating around out there. But I used to think that you could simply choose to go smaller than the Satoshi. But I think it was either you or Chappie or someone was telling me that you would need to fork the code in order to go smaller than the Satoshi unit. Is that correct? Like you would need to upgrade Bitcoin, aka you would need a hard fork that everyone agrees to in order to, I guess, put more integers in there. Or what am I talking about?
More integers in the computer. Well, there's a lot there. Lower than 1 Satoshi increments will probably happen in Lightning. Will probably happen in these ways off chain because, like we were talking about, you need more than some amount of sats to make a fee, make an on-chain payment anyway.
Yeah.
So I can't really, unless we get to the point where fees on Bitcoin are so small because Bitcoin's worth so much that we actually need subsats payment on chain.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see us really needing that. I don't know, for a long time. If we did need to change the Bitcoin code to deal with subsats, there would be a thoroughly exhaustive search for how to do this without hard forking the network.
Okay.
And when you're at this level of computer science, human imagination is really important. There's some things that we know for sure that you probably can't do without a hard fork. But the sub-Satoshi one, I don't think people have firmly decided whether or not that would require a hard fork. Mm-hmm. I mean, just as a recent example, in 2016 or whatever, no one thought that we could do the SegWit upgrade without a hard fork. Everybody thought, like, this has to be a hard fork. And then Luke Dasher comes around with a solution that nobody had ever thought of before. And so we were able to do the SegWit upgrade with a soft fork instead of a hard fork. So whether something requires a hard fork or a soft fork sometimes it's clear, a lot of times it's not. Sometimes you think it's clear, and then some genius comes along. So it's kind of in that area. Like, we're dealing with one of those issues with the 2106 bug right now. Sorry if I'm getting too technical. Just cut
this
me
is
off,
juicy.
but,
Like this is we got like exclusive expertise in the studio because usually we just have a redheaded dude who likes to smash Bitcoin and that's all he knows is he wants more.
I kind of like that guy though. Smash that hummus.
So what is the 2106 bug?
So this might even be more difficult than the sub-Satoshi problem, but in 2106, do you remember Y2K?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they were saying like the digits, there's 2 digits in the year.
Right.
We'll smash some hummus real quick.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
I'm getting a little hungry.
So, so the big freak out was like, oh, when 99 goes to 00, the computers are going to freak out. And that didn't happen because that's not how computers store numbers. Computers don't store numbers like we do with a 0 and then a 1 and tens digits. Computers store numbers in like usually 32-bit segments of memory,
Okay.
And so the problems arise when that 32-bit segments of ones and zeros fills up. Not when it gets to a round decimal number. And one of the ways computers keeps track of time is the number of seconds that have elapsed since January 1st, 1970.
What?
Yeah, so it's called like standard Unix time, epoch time. Every computer on the internet, all like servers, like the primary way that computers keep track of time is number of seconds since January 1st, 1970.
January 1st, 1970. What in the world?
Yeah.
What I don't understand it.
Well, they had to pick some date, to start from, and that was kind of when computers were starting to get around, and they just decided on that date.
So like every time I turn on my computer, I thought my computer was like pinging the atomic clock in Colorado.
It's like beaming up the satellites and GPS signals and stuff like that. And,
But you're saying it just counts. It just when I turn on my laptop, it just checks how many seconds have passed since January 1, 1970.
Yeah, I mean, if you turn your computer off or just let the battery run or something, it'll keep track of time without being on the internet. And yeah, it's just counting seconds from then. But it's not really how they know the time. It's more like how do they agree upon the time, you know? Because like you got different time zones, you got like daylight savings times. You know, it's just like, can we just have one clean number and not deal with hours, minutes, you know, like time zones? Like this, it's just messy.
It is.
So they're just like, let's just number of seconds is 1970. That's the core number. You take that number and you convert to time. Like, so my little chart right here, these numbers here, 8 a.m., 12 UTC time.
Yeah.
Those are secondary numbers. The first number I get out of the Bitcoin blockchain is the number of seconds since 1970.
That is insane, dude.
And then we convert that number to like, you know, local times and stuff like that. Anyway, the point of all this is that number actually reaches, that number of seconds becomes so big that it fills up all the space of a 32-bit number in the year 2106.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the year so Y2K isn't in the year 2000. It's the year 2106, y'all. We need to start preparing for this now because airplanes are going to fall out of the sky.
Yeah.
Computers are going to crash.
Oh, it's going to be...
The nuclear reactors are going to melt down, dude.
The news is going to have a field day with that, man.
Dude, it's going to be Y2K 106.
You know, traditional media is kind of dying, but just hang in there, man. This 2106 thing is going to bring you back. You're going to be able to scare the crap out of everybody.
So what are we going to do to avoid the crisis of Y2K 106?
There's some.
Oh, is that what you mean by the 2106 bug?
Yes.
I thought this was a bug with Bitcoin.
It is a bug with Bitcoin. It's a bug with everything.
It's a bug with all of computers?
Yeah.
Guys, smash the like button on our live stream if you are shaking in your boots about what's going to happen 80 years from now.
Well, Bitcoiners will be the first one to fix this because Bitcoiners are the first people to fix everything.
Yeah! Horns, Jeremy. Horns, Jeremy. Simon, you're right, dude. Bitcoin will prevail. So how are we going to fix this bug, man?
Well, I kind of... I might want to grab one of those. It's kind of a joke like, oh, we need to get working on this now. I kind of do think we should do this sooner rather than later. Like, if you can... Like a lot of the other drama that goes on in Bitcoin about like changes and upgrades and bug fixes and this or that, like I would put the 2106 bug as a higher priority over those things. Not because it's imminent, it's just because like, no, that's next on the list to me. Like I don't think these other things are as important. And yeah, there's some pros out there to fix it. It's not clear it can be done with or without a hard fork. Some people are out there being like, this cannot be done without a hard fork. It's by definition a hard fork. Okay, like we'll see. Like I'm not sure I agree with that. Might just take some creativity.
So let's give Simple Steve a second to crunch on some hummus, and we'll go into some updates real quick. So Jeremy, give me my first update here, the one about Simon. Simon, my boy. About a little less than 2 weeks ago, he gave us a nice, clean comment on one of our videos. I want to throw it up on the screen right now so that everybody in the chat can celebrate my boy Simon. Smash the like and subscribe to celebrate my guy. He says, got my first million sats today, actually, and finally, boys. Heart emoji. Let's go. Simon is now officially a satillionaire.
Simon, congratulations.
Dude. Simon, you were personally congratulated by an OG Bitcoiner who freaking developed UTX Oracle. And he's already working on a problem that won't be here for 90 years. How do you feel? Put it in the chat. Tell us in the chat, Simon, how you feel, how you felt when you stacked your first million sats. Okay, we want to hear from you. Let's put the next update on the screen here, Jeremy. This was on Nostr. A week or two back, the one where the guy sells his house, Jeremy. This guy, it looks like he is from like Germany or something like that, and he was on Nostr, and he talked about how he sold his house. No. That's in the meme review, Jeremy. We want the one. It just looks like a big Twitter post, and it starts off with like, "I sold my house today." Okay, Simon says those million sats are technically not his first. What's going on here, Simon? Dude,
man, I was about to say, I'm glad I did. I was about to say doing your first sats is the hardest. It's easier after that, but apparently it wasn't his first.
First million sats are your hardest, but it looks like he's already got some. So keep stacking, Simon. And I think you're already subscribed, so you know you're entered for your chance to win 10 million sats. So here's the update from Dave on Nostr. He says, sold my house today to stack more days spent with my daughter to protect her future because Bitcoin is eating the world. If you're a dad without Bitcoin and not adapting, I'm here to tell and show you you're failing your family. This move was for you, my little princess, your legendary dad from the past. Maybe a granddad when you read this, but I did it all for you. This also means we're relocating away from Germany. Timestamp of freedom 900,804.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
We already know the sell your house for Bitcoin works because the Dutch guy did it. Remember him?
Yeah. I mean, this is real. It reminded me of a post. I remember a long time ago in like 2015 or something. Some guy had been secretly kind of buying Bitcoin and hadn't told his family. And it was like 5 years later, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm about to tell my family that I have enough Bitcoin to buy a house now."
Wow.
And it's just like, I don't know. Bitcoin really changes people's lives. Yeah, like this guy selling his house to buy Bitcoin, that's great. I mean, probably financially the right thing to do. I mean, owning a house isn't all about money. It's about emotions and security. And, sometimes it's worth it to buy a house. But, like, just straight up financially, like, houses were a form of money for the past generation or whatever. Like, that's why house values have gone up so much. It's because it's been the primary savings vehicle of like a whole generation of people. And it wasn't like that before. And it's not clear that it's going to be like that afterwards.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you could almost sell your house now, get into Bitcoin. Bitcoin then changes the world and drops home values back down to their utility value.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's like, okay, you're telling me this pile of wood that's getting eaten by termites is going up in value. But my car that's rusting away, it's going down in value because it's depreciating. What does depreciation mean? All that stuff makes sense when you listen to Jeff Booth and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the money.
It's like you're telling me this pile of bricks is now double its value that it was 10 years ago?
Right.
How?
Yeah, like,
freaking how,
amazing.
Dude? How?
They haven't made any more bricks. Bricks getting more scarce. I don't get it.
God. Amazing, dude. And then maybe when it drops the home down to the utility value, then you get yourself one because it's like, a $400,000 home just goes back to like $40,000 because that's just the true cost of the material and the roof and the doors and the windows.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you own a house out there and you want us to shut up, sorry, got a little Triscuit in there.
The real estate association just shot like a laser beam at your throat. They're like, be quiet.
You shut up.
No. They're like, it's an asset. It's an asset.
People always need a place to live. I mean, inflation's probably going to be so bad. They're probably going to print so many dollars that everything's going to go up.
Yeah.
Your house is going to go up, but the steak and the eggs and everything is going to go up.
Yeah. My Kristen was at the grocery store the other day, and a dozen organic eggs was $12. It was $1 per egg. It's like, bruh.
Wow.
So anyways, this guy Dave from Germany, I found him on Nostr, and he is going to come on satchats.
Found him on Nostr. He's going to come on satchats?
He's going to tell us his Bitcoin story.
Sweet.
So we are going to get him all scheduled up and onto the show.
Nice.
And I expect maybe sometime in August or July or August, you'll probably see his episode. So we're really excited about that.
Cool.
We got Senor Gringo in the chat. He's a dad with Bitcoin with 2 kids who also holds Bitcoin in cold storage. Simon says the 10 million sats giveaway is actually bonkers. Whoever went, y'all are incredibly generous, giving generational wealth away for free.
The senior.
Senor Gringo.
Senor Gringo Poppy. Do you have like a treasure map that your kids like might be able to like find those private keys? You know, I think about that sometimes. It'd be so cool, like the movie The Goonies, or like real treasure maps where there's actually Bitcoin there.
Dude, what about National Treasure with Nick Cage?
Yeah, I mean, like you can really do this stuff, and it's real. And it's like it can involve math puzzles. It could involve some physical agility too. You know, like you go to the middle of the woods and berries. Oh, you know that movie Shawshank Redemption where there's that rock in the middle of the tree and he has to go find it at the end.
Yeah,
you can do stuff like that. Like,
dude,
it's so weird that this is real.
So you've heard it here first. We are going to be, Simple Steve and I are going to be starring in a remake of Nicolas Cage's National Treasure. Yeah. Only we're trying to find like a USB stick, or maybe like we're trying to find like the keys to Satoshi's coins, so that we can have 1 million coins.
And it doesn't even have to be electronic. It's just going to be 24 words. So it's like it really can be old-fashioned in a way. You're just looking for words.
Okay, amazing. Let us know in the chat if you want satchats to fund, and we're already shooting a documentary, you all, so it's not that far off from a big budget Hollywood picture where Simple Steve and I, plus Chris, can't forget Chris, we go on a Nicolas Cage style National Treasure for Satoshi's words. Although he would have he would have a dusty old file. Right? Like a wallet.dat file. Because he wouldn't have one of those newer. So you would really need to find an actual file somewhere.
That is true.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I guess, I mean, the private key still could be written down with a long stream of letters and numbers.
Okay.
I mean, the .dat files, the private keys for Bitcoin aren't that long.
Okay.
I mean, they're they're about the size of like a Bitcoin address.
Yeah.
Like.
So you're going to star in the film with me and with Chris and with the whole Satchats crew, but you're also going to be like the, in Hollywood where they have an expert that they consult for like accuracy and like, when they're doing like a Middle Ages movie, they have like a consultant. There you go, Jer. Who like is on set to be like, yeah, you couldn't do that. Like when they're doing the Dungeons and Dragons movie, they had dungeon masters who were like, that's not even a spell you can cast, dude. So you would be starring and you would be consulting.
Yeah. Okay. There'd have to be a bad guy too, though, right? Like for the plot to make sense or the storyline.
So who would be the bad guy, and would he be also trying to find Satoshi's?
Yeah, I think it'd have to be a race.
A race.
Yeah, between you and the bad guy.
But maybe the bad guy. What is now? Okay, now here's a hot take, Simple Steve.
Okay.
Let's imagine that our villain is the one who wants Satoshi's coins in order to spend them for himself and to enrich himself.
Or to break the network. Or to attack the network somehow.
Okay.
Like the point isn't for us to get rich, it's for us to save Bitcoin.
Yes.
By keeping this guy from getting the coins first. And then when we get Satoshi's coins, we burn them.
Dude, we send them to the provably unspendable address.
Actually,
yes.
So that's people ask that a lot. Like if Satoshi didn't want to spend his Bitcoin, why didn't he just send them to the provably unspendable address?
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good question out there. The like leading answer to that question is that. There's a lot of reasons that he could have done it, but it was one of the reasons might have been he wanted to leave them out there to show you how secure Bitcoin is.
Ooh.
Because right now they are spendable, meaning like the private keys to Satoshi's coins exist, and if you can find them,
dude.
And people have been like trying everything they could do for like 16 years nonstop, and so it's a proof of how secure Bitcoin is.
So he's just got his 1 million coins out in public view, and he's like, try it, fool.
Yeah, here you go.
Absolutely try it.
Here's the box. Here's a safe. Here's a hammer. Here's a nuclear bomb. Like, do anything you want. They're in this box. See if you could open it.
Yo!
Yeah.
Dude, Bitcoin is secure.
And that's another thing back in the early days that was hard to deal with. It's like, if there is a box that literally cannot be opened, except for one person. Like, not even the government can open that box. Like, it literally cannot be opened. Like, is that okay? Like, that the government can't open this box no matter how hard they try?
So would the villain in this movie be the government, by the way? Should we have some some suit
Are we ready
coiners?
for that? Are we ready for movies where the government's the bad guy?
Yeah.
I know we're going in that direction, but I don't. As a society, are we ready?
Yeah.
Is there a movie like
Are
that?
there any, guy in the chat, are there any movies where the government is portrayed as the bad guy? There's no way that's possible, right? And by the way, I bet we could start producing this right now. Reggie, we could get funding from Trezor, Trezor, the cold wallet.
Yeah.
Because we'll name the film National Treasure. National Treasure, okay? And we'll go like that right there. We'll have Trezor bankroll the whole production, dude. Let's have Chappie start in on the script right now.
V for Vendetta. V for Vendetta, yeah.
I like that, Jeremy. Yeah. Jeremy, could they hear you speaking right there? Okay. Jeremy just came on in ears and said there's a whole host of films where the government's a bad guy. I don't think that he gets that Simple Steve is being wildly sarcastic with his question. Of course, there's a million films where the government is the bad guy. He's trying to be, he's like, and by the way, real helpful for your show, there actually are some movies. Like, yeah, we get it, bro.
No, I didn't actually. None came to mind. I'm sure there are ones out there.
I quit, guys. Show's over.
You can't pick up a stone and throw it without hitting a film where the government is the bad guy. It's in literally almost every film imaginable. So, anyways, Senor Gringo did say that only one family member knows, and it's still difficult for them to access. So that's interesting.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
All right. So Simon says, I think Simon is trying to say if we found Satoshi's coins and sent them to the provably unspendable address, it would destroy the trust in the whole network.
If what? Wait, say it again.
Simon says, but it would destroy the trust in the whole network, boys. LOL, laughing emoji.
If what? If Satoshi spent his coins?
Or I guess, Simon, are you saying if we were able to find Satoshi's keys and have access to his coins, would that destroy trust in the whole network?
Well, if we were able to find them, like without any help from Satoshi, then yes, that would destroy trust in the network. But I think what we're talking about is Satoshi actually gave us the map.
Yeah.
And we be like somebody telling you, here's my private keys, or here's the map that you have to do to get to my private keys. So yeah.
I think if we were able to hack into
if you were to hack it, then yeah.
If we could hack into his address, that would destroy the trust.
Yeah.
But if we are clever enough to find the key and the key opens the wallet, that's how Bitcoin works. That wouldn't destroy trust.
Yeah, and I think it would have to be like Satoshi told us how to get the key.
Okay. Can we have a sequence?
How would you be clever enough to get the key without any help from the person?
Well, like maybe, yeah. It would have to be like, or maybe you could get into his. I guess you'd have to find Satoshi first, like where he lived, and then stumble on the fact that he's left clues.
Yeah,
something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Can there be a sequence where we love Bitcoin so much, not only do we send his coins to the provably unspendable address to prevent, the suit coiners and the government, from getting to it for themselves. But also, in order to do that, like
suit coiners,
like there's a sequence on the top of a building where like the signing device, the Trezor, because we would have to feature the Trezor prominently in National Treasure. The Trezor that has all of Satoshi's coins there's a tussle. It falls out of our hand. It falls out of the bad guy's hands and it's going off of the side of a building, and we jump off, catch up with the Trezor, sign the transaction, and then we hit the payment, and we're dead. So we have to sacrifice ourselves and the coins for Bitcoin.
Wow, I just got real at the end. Yeah.
The heroic sacrifice, man. We have to have
There has to be a heroic sacrifice.
But we would have to somehow survive because then we would need to shoot National Treasure 2.
Yeah.
Right. We can't. That would be such a dope franchise. Or how about this? You actually go super long haul because Hollywood loves movies that have like a million sequels. Mm-hmm. let's imagine that.
Oh, it keeps going on? Yeah, somehow it keeps going on. Yeah.
So let's imagine that Satoshi's key is 12 words long, okay?
Yeah.
We would need 12 movies. Right? One for and you go on a huge adventure to find one word at a time. But in Satoshi's case, he probably has that fat string of numbers and letters. So maybe you break it up into chunks and like each movie you're going and finding like one chunk of it until you can put it all together. Kind of like the Thanos, where you're trying to get all the...
Yeah, you'd have to have a lot of subplots going on to keep to keep it interesting.
We could weave it all in there, man. We could weave it all in there. Yeah. All right, so you heard it here first. Simple Steve and I are going to be working on National Treasure, brought to you by Treasure.
Okay, I'm not ready to move on past is there a movie that's similar to V for Vendetta? Because V for Vendetta is the only one that I can remember where the government is clearly doing evil to the world.
Bro.
What's another one?
What? Like the
That's
government is continually...
Evil. They're not evil. They're just hiding secrets. I'm talking about...
They're not evil.
I'm
they're
talking
just
about the government is
secrets.
the bad guy. No, I'm talking about the government's
what
trying to kill everyone.
What about Mel Gibson's conspiracy theory movie where there's black helicopters and stuff and he's running away from them and all that?
I didn't see that one.
What about Mission Impossible where Tom Cruise is constantly racing against his own government to try to do something good for humanity?
But the government isn't trying to kill everyone in any of these movies.
What about every movie from the Middle Ages where the king is not good? He's the government.
Okay, I can see with the king.
What about every science fiction movie? What about the freaking Empire, dude? What about Star Wars? That's the government. The Empire is the government, dude. And Emperor Palpatine's at the head of the government, man.
All right, yeah.
There's a million movies where the government is the bad guy.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
I guess I'm more thinking about where the U.S. government is the bad guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
well, what about in the Marvel movies where they want the superheroes to register themselves with their true identities?
I didn't see
and
that.
It creates what? You didn't see Iron Man versus Captain America in Civil War?
I saw a couple of the Iron Mans. I don't know if I saw that. I'm not really a big movie guy.
Dude, one of the best sequences of that whole story arc is the Iron Man is getting his butt kicked by Captain America.
Is he?
And he says, Friday or Jarvis, analyze his fighting style. And it's Friday. Friday's like, analysis complete. The next punch Captain America throws, Iron Man's like, nope. And he's like, oosh, oosh, ooh, boo. He uses his suit to kick Captain America's butt, dude. All right. So we're almost at the top of the hour. Let's move into the meme review here, and then we'll close out the show. So we've got some memes. We're gonna dedicate Friday's meme review to the Lord Opti of Simply Bitcoin. That guy is my boy, and I love him. They don't do their Friday meme review anymore. So we are going to do it for them. All right. Now, Simon also says, wouldn't AI be able to get those 12 worlds accurate in the right order eventually?
Great question. This is really important to convince yourself why this is not possible. AI has absolutely no prayer of putting those words in the right order. It would just take too many guesses.
Really?
Yeah.
It would take too many guesses for artificial intelligence to find 12 words and put them in the right order.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How? How?
Well, it's if it were possible, it would have been done, right? Mm-hmm. So the thing with AI is that you have to remember that AI is not imaginary. AI is something that runs on a computer, right? So if something runs on a computer, it means it has to flip bits from ones to zeros.
Okay.
So the things we're dealing with in Bitcoin, the things about like hashing and guessing passwords and stuff, they have nothing to do with what software is running on your computer. They have to do with ones turning to zeros inside your computer. So it's impossible at the level of turning ones to zeros fast enough. It doesn't matter what software, like AI is just a software. So it's not, AI can't do anything without flipping bits in a computer.
So AI is limited by the binary nature of the computer that it is running on.
Yeah, just how fast you can change a 0 to a 1 in a computer. Is it lightning fast? Yes. Is it infinitely fast? No. How fast is it? And then you design your cryptography to be a million bazillion times faster than how fast a computer can flip a 1 to a 0.
Holy smokes.
I mean, like, so if a computer could do that infinitely fast, then mining wouldn't work, right? It wouldn't be 10-minute block times. It wouldn't be like, how is it possible that like we have this math problem or whatever that's exactly so hard that it takes computers exactly 10 minutes to guess the right thing? Well, if computers guessed infinitely fast, then there would never be 10 minutes, right? So it's when people deal with cryptography and, you know, do you need 12 words? How many words do you need? What order do you things? What's the combinatorial statistical probability for all this stuff? And how do you make that safe for a computer? They're dealing with, like, you know, how fast your processor runs, not what software is running on your computer.
Think about in a world where we are all afraid of artificial intelligence and scammy Bitcoin. Think about how much better you would feel if you were as smart as number 60, Simple Steve.
Oh, it's just all simple, man. Just think about the ones and the zeros, not the software.
You're like, guys,
keep it simple.
AI is limited by the ones and the zeros, man. It's fine.
You all know that. You all knew that anyway. Don't act like you didn't know that. You all knew that it ran on a computer.
He's like, the real problem is not that Chappie is going to take over the world. The real problem is that in 2106, we're going to have a big problem on our hands tracking the time from 1970. All right. So, JRB, let's get that first meme up on the screen here, and we'll chat about it. Hopefully my guy Richard Puente is in the audience here because he sent us some memes last week and was like, dude, where are my memes at? So he sent us this meme.
Bitcoin
Shout out
gentleman.
Richard.
Yeah.
Right? Satchats, home of the Bitcoin gentleman. Look at
Love
that
it.
guy. That guy's looking good, man. Is that
is.
Chris right there? He's got a nice mustache. It could never be me because I'm never not going to have a
That
beard.
is so gentleman. Are we still in the era where gentleman is slang for just like awesome? Remember? Was that an era? Is that over? Is it still going? Like, that's gentleman.
That's a gentleman?
That was a real
that's
brief
meme.
period.
That's a meme. That's
Yeah,
a Bitcoin
yeah.
meme. Right. Yeah, that's
Is it
gentleman.
a Bitcoin meme?
Yeah, because somebody was in a Reddit post and he was trying to say
it's like a typo or something?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
gentleman. Like, I think he was trying to say like that's it, gentlemen, or something. But that's gentleman. And there's actually there's a that's gentleman holiday, and we're gonna do it here.
Yeah.
There's a that's gentleman holiday, and we're gonna have everybody at the studio for that because we are home of the Bitcoin gentleman.
That's right.
All right, what do we got next there, JRB? By the way, thank you, Richard. If you're not here on the live show, bruh, hope you saw it later. We had Chris send us a ton here. All right, bankers, quantum computing is a threat to Bitcoin. Bitcoin, bank pin code 1010, Bitcoin private key 0010000.
I love that. I love that.
Right? So look at
That's
the pin
great.
code versus Bitcoin's private key. I mean, come on, y'all. But what's funny is it's still just flipping from zeros and ones, man. That's crazy. Now, how much harder would it be to hack into a private key this long, Bitcoin's length, than the bank's pin code?
No one will ever be able to guess that private key randomly.
That's insane. How we think of computers as executing millions of processes a minute.
No.
And some miners are doing trillions of guesses a second, right?
Yeah.
How can you not eventually guess a string of numbers that long?
If you had a guess for every atom that existed in the entire universe, that would not be enough guesses.
Are you kidding? What?
Yeah. It's real. I mean, you got to get comfortable with these things, man. It's like, this is real.
How were we able to create a computing device that is so cryptographically secure? You would need to guess more times than there are atoms in the whole, not just the solar system, not just our galaxy, the entirety of all the universe?
Yeah. I mean, it kind of blows my mind that we're capable of even like mentally imagining these numbers that can't possibly exist. Like, if we can imagine a number that is larger than the number of atoms exist in the whole world, like, that's something very weird about our brain, that we can operate with these numbers that have no chance of referring to anything in reality. But yeah, I mean, the number of Bitcoin private keys is bigger than the number of atoms in the universe.
So what I need to do is I need to continue to sit at the feet of number 60 over here, because that kind of stuff, I need to be able to rattle that off to my pre-coiners when they're like, but it's not secure. I'm like, yeah, you would need more guesses than there are atoms in the universe, bro.
Yeah, here's another way that you know that this is true. So when you get a new wallet and you click receive and you get your first Bitcoin address, where did you check to see if anyone was already using that address?
I know I didn't. I just assumed it was all good.
You think the computer did that on the back end?
I have not thought about that one time.
The reason that you don't have to check if an address has already been used is because your chances of generating an address that someone else has already used is 0.
0?
It is bigger than the number of atoms in the universe.
Wow.
Like you selecting the same atom as somebody else selecting. These are what we're talking about. This is why when we have a little pack of dice right here or whatever.
Yeah, and this came to us from Bitcoin Well. So shout out Bitcoin Well, right?
Yeah.
Excellent exchange. They gave this to us at the show in Vegas.
So I could, we could roll these dice, whatever. We'd probably need to roll these dice maybe like
I think that's 50 dice right there.
10 times or something. Yeah, well, 10 or 20 times we'd have to roll this.
Yeah.
Write down the answers, do the math to get a Bitcoin address from this with a completely offline calculator.
Yeah.
That Bitcoin address is fully legitimate. You can send Bitcoin to it. You don't have to check to see if that address already existed. And then because you wrote down the answer to the dice, you have the private keys to that Bitcoin.
Dude.
Bitcoin is an old-fashioned technology. I mean, you don't have to check to see if a Bitcoin address is already used because there's so many freaking addresses.
Wow, dude. Jeremy, we need to load up a new sound that's just like an explosion for when we're getting our freaking minds blown. Do you know what I mean? And I actually think we should shoot a video where we show everybody how to generate, an address and a key with these dice, right? That would be so dope.
Yeah. So
right?
one of the guys in our Raleigh meetup has done that. He has a video of him rolling dice and generating an address from it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We need to absolutely copy that idea and slap a code of satchats paint on it and see if we can get more views than him. You know what I mean? Yeah, boy. Hey, sorry, we're running a channel here, bro. Sorry. All right. So what's the next meme there, JRB? Simon's getting his mind blown by Simple Steve.
Oh, can I
imagine
say
being in the
something?
same room as this guy.
Can I say something else? Because we have banking and we're getting close to being done. Or can I say something else?
Yeah, keep rolling, man. We'll go a little bit long. Unlike Simply Bitcoin, which starts to get uncomfortable when they run long, we'll go as long as we need to with Simple Steve.
That banking and quantum thing, it said back there, like quantum computing. There was another meme that showed Bank of America predicting that quantum computing was like a threat. And then it showed like all these disruptive technologies that Bank of America completely failed to predict. Like,
oh, really?
Bank of America couldn't even predict Bitcoin was going to be a big deal, and they think they know what quantum computing is going to do.
Dude. So
I just so you people out there, I am not afraid of quantum computing. I actually don't think it's going to be a big deal.
Can we hit that real quick? Yeah. Can we hit that while we got you here? Why are you not concerned about the quote-unquote quantum threat on Bitcoin?
I mean, anything could happen. Like, I could be wrong, but like, I haven't been convinced that we've had some kind of breakthrough. I mean, I know you hear these news stories from IBM and stuff, but quantum computing was invented in 1973, man. It's been like, what, 30 years? I mean, it's been what, like...
No, it's like 50.
50 years.
It's been 52 years since quantum computing was produced?
Yeah, and like, so quantum computing's been getting better on a very kind of linear scale, and we haven't really seen any evidence for the kind of exponential scale growth that we saw in digital computing. A lot of things in quantum computing are very analog in nature. They require a lot of energy. They require a lot of freezing. They require a lot of mechanical parts, like a car or something. So it's like, have cars gotten better? Yeah. Have they gotten better exponentially? No. I mean, things with a lot of mechanical parts, they don't get better exponentially. They get better linearly. And quantum computing is really going to need some kind of exponential breakthrough that nobody saw coming in order to be a threat, in my opinion. Something could happen tomorrow and could be wrong, but like, don't let people scare you with quantum computing.
Okay.
That's just Don't let the fudsters win.
Don't let the fudsters win.
Like, could it? Yeah, maybe. Is there evidence that it's going to win right now? Not really.
Are there any movies where the fudsters are the enemy?
Yes, man. Of course there are.
There's a ton of them.
Let me rattle off 100 of them.
So layer one, quantum computing simply isn't that juicy currently at this time.
Not in my opinion. I'm sure people are going to disagree with me and going to hate on me in the chat, but I just.
But number two, aren't today's addresses the ones that start with BC1Q? Don't they have a level of quantum resistance already?
Yeah, they're I'm not going to say quantum. If a different kind of computing arises,
okay.
If I had to bet, like if there's a form of computing that's better than digital computing in the next 100 years, if I had to bet whether that form of computing was quantum computing or a form you've never heard of before, I would take the field.
Wow.
I would say that I bet a different form of computing computes both. But yeah, so Satoshi's coins have kind of version 1 Bitcoin address. Version 1 Bitcoin address just has like one layer of encryption on it. Version 2 Bitcoin addresses have two kind of wrappers of encryption and different forms of encryption. And then so Satoshi's coins are more susceptible to a unique form of computing attack than like modern Bitcoin addresses. So it's another way. So Satoshi left these coins out. First of all, the private keys exist. Second of all, like if there's a crazy form of computing out there that could attack the world, here you go, attack it. It's kind of canary in the coal mine, kind of.
Wow.
So yeah.
But so first layer, quantum computing is not that great yet. Second layer, older addresses are more susceptible to newer addresses, but there's a big fat old address out there right now that nobody's been able to hack into. But right. I also thought that like there's a third layer, which is if that type of computing, quantum or otherwise, came out, that was a true threat, Bitcoin would see it coming and simply would upgrade itself to become more resistant to that thing, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, there's plenty of things that Bitcoin can do. I don't think people realize how many nuclear options there are in Bitcoin. Like we talk about soft forks, we argue about this, we argue about that. Like Bitcoin can hard fork, Bitcoin can like disappear underwater and reemerge on the other side of the world like a superhero. You just got me thinking about movies, but
Bitcoin can run away from the government busters.
I mean, like, I guess maybe I don't have like specific examples right now, but if you were around during like the fork wars and like the early days where you saw Bitcoin like hard fork and have to do some pretty serious changes, like you get the sense that Bitcoin is an idea. And it's like a Pandora's box. And it's like the idea that Bitcoin would not recreate itself after being destroyed in some way or one or the other is just crazy.
Whoa.
Like there would be a hard drive somewhere that has a copy of the blockchain. And it's like DNA or something. It's like as long as that one thing existed, like Bitcoin's going to recreate itself.
Wow.
Like it's the idea that it wouldn't is just crazy. You wouldn't have one person in the entire world that had the copy of the Bitcoin blockchain that wouldn't want to restart it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's
okay.
Yeah.
So not only are we gonna do national treasure, but we're gonna shoot what basically amounts to Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that's right.
We're gonna find a copy of the blockchain that is. Yo, here we go.
Yeah.
Because you know how human we have DNA, correct? Okay, set of instructions. The movie plot is someone has mapped the blockchain onto the DNA, right? Which is inside the blood, which is inside a mosquito, which is locked in the amber. And we're going to pull the dang blockchain out of the mosquito. And we're going to it's going to be like, Bitcoin Park, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Satchats is going to go frickin' nuclear with all these amazing movie ideas, and that's how we're gonna bring Bitcoin to the pre-coiners, man. We're gonna do all the movies all over again, just with Bitcoin.
Yeah, we do need more Bitcoin in movies and stuff for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Mom and Dad who are in the chat, y'all were watching that one movie on like Amazon Prime or something with the lady who like it's like a presidential action thriller and maybe the bad guys want Bitcoin or something. Put that in the chat, Dad, if you're still in there, and we'll figure out what it is. All right, Jared, let's get back to them memes and then we'll wrap it up here. What a great show so far, man.
I had no idea we're talking about movies the whole time.
Dude, they're gonna be like, we're done with Stuart and Chris. We just want Simple Steve. Like,
No,
you're just gonna become the
I
next
miss Chris.
guy.
No.
All right, so here's the
Chris.
next meme. Here's all you need to know: days, months, years, decades. Right? This is what Bitcoin does during the day. Here's what Bitcoin does over the months. Here's what it does over the years, decades, right? So when people think about the volatility of Bitcoin, they're thinking about that daily movement of Bitcoin. Maybe it crabs sideways over the months, but over the years, it just goes up. And over the decades, it goes up a whole bunch.
So simple. It's so simple, but it is difficult, like, to, change gears. Like when you're driving your first gear, your second gear, third gear, it's zooming out to decades and then having to zoom back in to days and having to, like, your mind having to, like, change kind of what time frame you're looking at. Like, for this problem in your life, you got to think about in terms of decades. For this problem in life, you got to think in terms of, years, months, weeks, days, and just constantly knowing, like, what scale you should be at. Like that is hard. I admit that. But, like, yeah, for this problem, for the Bitcoin problem, for you saving for the rest of your life, you need to stop looking at the price every day.
Yes.
You need to start looking at decades, okay?
Decades.
This is one area of your life, your money, your savings. You should not be watching a plant grow with a microscope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't watch the plant grow.
Don't watch a plant grow with a microscope. You check in on the plant once a week or so.
Yeah.
You're not looking at it second by second.
Yes.
Yeah. For this area of life, definitely years, decades.
And one simple trick that I use, Satillionaires, when I reach a crisis and I'm not sure, should I be looking at this daily, monthly, yearly, decades? Like, what time frame am I in?
Yeah.
I take a minute to collect myself, right? And I start counting how many seconds from January 1, 1970.
Wow.
And by the time I catch up to the present day, I know what I need to do next. Jared, let's hit the next meme.
Taking away.
Oh my God, amazing. No, Mom, it was called like 76 or something or whatever.
How you talked to your mom during the live stream.
My mom, oh my God. All right. Yeah, it was like a number. It was the black lady was the action hero, y'all, and it was like a presidential moment. All right, so here's Jamie Dimon up top. He says, Bitcoin is a scam. It's worse than a tulip bubble. It won't end well for Bitcoin. And now here he is with his arms crossed and a smile on his face. Bitcoin is a brand new asset class. We can store your Bitcoin for you.
Oh, naughty little Jamie. Jamie needs love too. I hope he has someone in the world that loves him.
Should Jamie be the villain in National Treasure?
He might need to be. He might need to be. He'd probably like it. He'd probably be like a professional wrestler that likes being the bad guy.
Okay.
I think he'd enjoy it.
Yeah, he likes to be the heel.
Yeah, he likes to be the heel.
Yeah. Dude.
Yeah, Jamie. I'm sure he owns some.
We'll just call our villain Damie Jaimin.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and maybe like Ryan Barmstrong. All right, now here's the next one. Here's the next meme. The house didn't change. The money did. Most people still haven't figured this out, right? So we've got what looks like 1970. This home is $23,400. 2025, the same freaking home is $503,800. Yoicks.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And it looks like Chris is in the chats somehow.
Chris, what up? I'm sitting in your seat, boy.
Simple Steve, dude, Chris, you've got some stiff competition this week.
It feels really nice. Thanks for letting me be here, Chris. Happy to fill in for you.
We've had number 38 Lion host 4 episodes of Satchats this week. We've had my dad number 18, and now we got number 60, and woo, Simple Steve's got the heat. But Chris, you're right. So Chris is responsible for all these memes because he hangs out on an area of the internet for 9-year-old boys, and just like all the stuff that's funny for them, just the algorithm just feeds him this stuff.
Nice.
And he was rapid fire blasting these memes. Like, I don't appear anywhere on the internet. I just hang out in the comments of YouTube. But Chris is out there collecting the memes for us. So Chris, we love you, brother, and you're responsible for the meme review as the co-host, just like Lord Opti. Chris is going to be responsible.
I don't know why it's so hard to collect memes. Like I scroll through my Twitter or whatever, and I see funny memes. I just don't remember to save them, and I'm just like, why is it so hard to remember to save memes? So so thank you, whoever is saving the memes.
It's Chris.
It's Chris.
It's Chris.
Chris, thank you for doing that. I don't know why it's so hard to do that.
Yeah, I don't know either. But listen. Simple Steve and all the Satillionaires, send us your memes, okay? You obviously have my personal number, so you can send it to me directly.
Yeah.
But everyone else, either link it in the comments of YouTube or email it to show@satchats.com so that we can feature your memes in the Friday meme review, okay?
Can we go back to the previous one?
Let's see. Let's go back to the one about the house.
The one about the houses?
Yep, and I'll put our email address in the chat for everyone. All right, what do you got here, man?
So, just the house prices going up just could be like a result of inflation or whatever. And I think people in the older generation have a hard time understanding why it's such a big deal that house prices went up. The reason it went up so much is because that 23, or the reason it's a problem, that 23,000 in 1970. That was like 2 years of an average salary of somebody in 1970.
Okay.
In 2025 or whatever, that 500,000 number right there, that's like 7 to 8 years of an average salary of somebody right there. So it's like, it's not just the fact that inflation it's happening. It's just that, like, real wages compared, giving you a chance to buy a house is just not possible anymore. I feel like I'm Jeff Boothin right now or something.
Well, here's the thing too. Maybe it took 2 years. Maybe it took 2 years of you'd have to save every dollar that you earn for 2 years.
But only 2 years.
You couldn't have done back then, by the way.
Yeah, can you imagine like being able to buy a house with only 2 years of saving your salary?
That'd be crazy. That'd be
like
crazy.
Nobody on earth can do that anymore.
Now it might take you 7 or 8, but the inflation is so insane these days that after 7 to 8 years, it won't even be 500 anymore.
Yeah,
it'll be 750, and you'd be like, wait, I have more time ahead of me, and it's constantly being pushed out in front of you, and you can't ever really catch up unless you want to go into a monster amount of debt to Damie Jaimin.
Damie Jaimin.
Oh, all right. What's the next
Solutions
one here? Let's see here. Simon says, wasn't it fiat inflation every 4 years and Bitcoin doing the exact opposite with having its supply? Okay, the 4-year period, is that tied to the fiat? The fiat inflation cycle, is Bitcoin mirroring that with like a Bitcoin deflation cycle?
I feel like fiat inflation is just constant.
Yeah. Is it even on a cycle anymore, or is it just blasting?
It's on a rocket ship. Yeah, just blasting out.
So here we got financial advisors don't put more than 7% of your net worth, and we'll call that Bitcoin. We'll say Bitcoin here. Don't put more than 7% of we won't say that word here. Although Simple Steve and I were saying we're going to try to reclaim crypto for the cypherpunks and the cryptographers out there who have figured out how to create a form of security that requires more guesses than there are atoms in the universe, right? Because we talk about crypto being kryptonite, but that's cryptocurrency. Yeah,
the word crypto had a much cooler meaning back in the day. It just kind of meant like the underlying cypherpunk cryptography kind of stuff I was talking about earlier. Now crypto just means like, shitcoining, altcoining, whatever.
Yes, exactly. Meme coins, all that junk. Degeneracy.
Sucks. Yeah. Oh, about this financial advisors thing, cool story. This is probably maybe 7 or 8 years ago. A guy comes to the Bitcoin meetup, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? He's like, yeah, I'm a financial advisor. I was like, oh, okay, you coming to find out about Bitcoin for your clients? And he was like, no, definitely not. I'm never letting my clients buy Bitcoin, but I'm personally going to buy Bitcoin because I think it's going to do great. And I was like, wait, this really happens? Like, your financial advisor's belief in what money's going to go up is totally different than what he'll advise you to buy.
What is up with that?
It was real. I was just like, whoa. Like, why would you not offer this to your customers or whatever? there's just so many games. Like think about the motives of a financial advisor and like who's paying them to say what to their customers and stuff like that. But like what they personally invest in, totally different.
That is nuts, dude. That is nuts. And actually, Chris was just telling a story about talking to an employee of BlackRock at his pool the other day. And basically the employee at BlackRock is totally stacking Bitcoin like a madman. But they're just getting around to like advocating that you put a little bit of your portfolio in. So it's like if all you do is listen to your financial advisor, you're not going to be getting enough Bitcoin in your life. The only financial advisor you need is right behind Simple Steve. It's called UTX Oracle Live, and it is showing you that Bitcoin is alive, Bitcoin is well, Bitcoin is working, and you need some Bitcoin. So this is us here. Don't put more than 7% of your net worth in Bitcoin. Me, 95% in. By the way, 95% isn't enough. It should say me 100% in and selling off enough sats each month to pay off the credit card, Simple Steve style.
Yeah, I mean, like, it will happen that you will become the majority, and it will happen one of two ways. Either you'll just be in here long enough, and then what used to be 5% of your portfolio is now 60% of your portfolio, just because Bitcoin went up by so much more than anything else did, or you'll be in here long enough until you understand things like atoms in the universe and how strong the cryptography is and how deflation is real. You'll be here long enough to understand like why nothing has a chance at beating Bitcoin.
Ooh.
Like there's just no chance.
Amazing. So no matter what percent of your portfolio is in Bitcoin, it will be 100% of your portfolio soon.
It happened to me.
Man, amazing, dude.
Before I lost it.
Yeah, and Simon says, we're still so early. My gosh, Steve, how early is 100,000 Bitcoin today in the fourth epic? Like, how early are we?
We're so early.
We're so early, dude.
I mean, like, we're here on satchats, and we only have how many people in the chat?
We got 12 people watching right now.
That's how early we are.
That's how early.
There should be, like, 12 million people in this chat right now.
Yes, dude.
Like, that's how early we are.
Dude, 12 million people in the chat.
I mean, be honest. None of your friends know about Bitcoin. All your friends want you to shut up talking about Bitcoin, so you have to go to the Bitcoin meetup so you have somebody to talk to about this stuff. Like, you know we're early. We're so early.
Yes, dude. So, and all of you in the chat, Simon, Senor Gringo, Marcos, you will be able to tell your friends and family that you were watching SatChats Live back when there was only 12 people in the room, and you will have an absolute badge of honor. All right, so do we have any more memes there, Jeremy? All right, so that's all the memes. Let's close this sucker out. We've got 2 short stacks rolling up this weekend. I don't even know what they are because we've been taping our faces off trying to cover a string of holidays coming up over the next 2 weeks. So the short stacks are something. I don't even know. And honestly, Chris and I might pump the brakes on the weekend short stacks where they come out every Saturday and every Sunday because we've covered a lot of topics. And we tried to cover is why does Bitcoin feel like a pyramid scheme? And after we were done with that, Chris just like, wiped his butt with me and walked out because I couldn't even like properly describe a pyramid scheme to even compare. He's like, dude, if you're only going to take 2 seconds to prepare with Chappie before we tape, like get out of my face. And I was like, you know what? I appreciate your, Chris really focuses on quality at SatChats and at Ithaca Hummus, our lead sponsor. Buy your tub of lemon dill today. Buy the dip. That's right. So
buy the dip.
But I think it would be really, valuable to have a short stack that we do a great job of taking our time to produce, where we use dice to create ourselves an address, or a really well-produced short stack where we animate all the atoms in the universe and show people how that's not enough guesses. Like, so we might...
Yeah. And then we do that really exciting one where we read every line of code of the Bitcoin core.
Yeah, now that won't be a short stack. That'll be an endurance challenge. That'll be a huge, long video where you and I are going through all of it. So
yeah, that would take like probably 100 hours.
I love that, dude. Dude, endurance, dude, Mr. B style endurance challenge, dude. We're
Maybe more, actually.
Yeah. All right, so we got 2 short stacks. We still have some short stacks in the chamber for now, at least. Monday's episode, couldn't even tell you what it is. We're not sure. So we're just glad we got through this week, everybody. We had so much fun with Simple Steve. Senor Gringo, shout out. He says, I actually just bought lemon dill Ithaca hummus 2 days ago. Very good. Yeah, very, very good. 1 pound fish. Very, very cheap. All right, so Chris wants us to say Damie Jaimin one last time. Can you hit us with a
Damie Jaimin?
Damie Jaimin!
Yeah,
Dude.
thanks, Monty Pelto. Enjoyed it too.
Yep, Damie, yeah, Dad loves you. Dad thinks you're the man. All right, everybody, this is the part of the show where we ask you for your value in exchange for ours. If you made it this far with Simple Steve taking us on a journey through the 2106 problem, Satoshi's reasons for leaving his coins out in the open, the power of cryptography, then smash the subscribe button the same way my brain gets smashed against the sidewalk when I listen to Simple Steve absolutely destroying me with his knowledge.
Yeah, have that effect on people with just brains all over the sidewalk.
Dude, I am splattered at this point, and I can't wait to go even deeper into Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the goated intergalactic credit of the future.
Oh my God, it is.
All right.
Like a chip.
When you smash the subscribe button, if you are among our first 100,000 subscribers, aka 99,999 plus one, you will be auto-magically entered in for your chance to win 10 million sats.
Just say auto-magically.
Auto-magically, yeah.
I like that.
So, and Simple Steve said, anyone in the future with 10 million sats is going to be the absolute Biltmore estate goat doing 19th century Edwardian exercises in their basement gym before dropping into their tiled pool. Okay, so
hand-tiled pool.
Hand-tiled pool. So get you, you'll be a mosaic of Bitcoin, a Bitcoin mosaic on the bottom.
Yeah.
So get you your chance at generational wealth right here on Satchats. You can also jump into the show notes for a few more ways to support the show. You can come on the show, satchats.com, just like number 60 did, and tell us your Bitcoin story or have your pre-coiner questions answered. You can also zap us on Lightning. Our address is satchats@getalby.com. You can send us your on-chain Bitcoin. Our address is in the show notes. And our addresses are provably spendable, okay? So if you send us your sats, we will be sure to pass them on to a pre-coiner who stacks their first sats for us. They're not going to go to a provably unspendable address, okay? Send us your Bitcoin before Damie Jaimin gets to it.
Damie Jaimin.
Christopher's in the chat. He's like, please don't ask them for handouts. Chris is a Bitcoin gentleman and he's well established and he does want me to ask for your sats, but I have no shame and I spent my life as a salesperson. So I'd like to earn your money, but if you just want to give me your money to power this show, go ahead and do it, baby. So it's all in the show notes. Rip these playlists so that we can get enough watch hours to unlock a membership area where you can get raw tape early and maybe some like headier videos that are for advanced Bitcoiners that might be too complicated for the main channel. Mm-hmm. That could be a thing that we could offer to them.
Okay.
Satchats Live is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice. Also, our views are our own, duh.
They make you say that now? Damn.
Well, usually it's like our guests' views are their own, but
oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyways.
My views are Chris's.
See you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.